Greetings. This is Mr. Cuevas coming to you live thanks to the power of the internet. Today I'll be going over document C of our Mansa Musa mini queue with you guys. And so let's jump into it. Now again, you've heard me say this once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Please check the source of any document that I give you, any document that any teacher gives you from now or a professor into college moving forward. Anything, anytime someone gives you some information, always check the source. So the source of our document, which we see up here at the top, is Ibn Battuta, 1356. Now, Ibn Battuta was a world-famous traveler. He's traveled the world, probably logged more miles than Marco Polo by a long shot, and he wrote fantastic journals of his travels along the way. So he is a respected Arabic scholar and traveler and explorer, and I think we can trust what he's saying. Okay, it's been verified, cross-referenced, the things that he's writes with other sources. So when he writes this, I think you can take it to the bank. Alright, so here we go. Note. Here's a note about Ibn Battuta's writings here though, okay? Some historians believe that after leaving Walata, Mansa Musa's Hajj made the difficult trip north to Tagaza. Right there, when we read that, that means that some historians, if they agree with this, that means some disagree with it, right? We'll have to make up our own minds. We have no record of Mansa Musa's stay in Tagaza. No direct evidence, but we do have a description of the place from the famous Arab scholar and traveler Ibn Battuta, who visited Tagaza in 1352. Now this is 28 years after Mansa Musa would have passed through, but I doubt much had changed other than the fact that Mansa Musa himself probably had passed away. But the place must have remained the same. And so before we get into this, I wanted to show you guys a video that breaks down kind of what these salt mines look like in the Sahara Desert. And so I found a good National Geographic video. I want to show it to you guys to get a good understanding of what a Tagaza or another salt mine in the Sahara Desert looks like. So let's watch this video.
Here, the salt mine has been working since the 11th century. In Tau Denis, the landscape changes with the day. A pockmarked landscape of tailings from the hand-dug pits where the salt is mined. The abrasive sand grinds away slowly on the bodies of the men who continue to work the salt. Many have terrible sores all over their feet and hands.
There are days when your arms hurt, but there are no doctors here. There is nothing. There are men who have bad wounds like this. It's really hard. But what are you going to do?
The salt tablets are loaded on the camels as the people prepare to head out. They will spend about 14 days heading south to Timbuktu. For them, crossing the desert is not merely getting from here to there. It is a process. In the Sahara Desert, there is no reference point. As far as the eye can see, it's an absolute sea of sand. Nighttime comes and goes. The sun rises large in the sky. As the caravans move out on these long journeys, the guides utilize skills which have been developed slowly, literally over generations. They read the direction of the stars. They use the orientation of the sand dunes and tracings in the sand that mark the direction of the prevailing winds. As they travel through the desert, they come upon well after well, where the caravans stop and allow their camels to drink. It's the continuation of a tradition, a means of survival that's been alive for 1,000 years. During their trip, the caravan encounters rain, causing them to stop. The rain affects the salt and will cause it to break if it is not allowed to dry out. They are at least a 10 days walk north of Timbuktu, in the middle of the Syrian desert, down to a liter or two of water. But they don't panic. They remain extraordinarily calm. They send a guide to track down a rumored well and hope that the rains have been sufficient. With the little water they have left, they brew some tea. They have learned to adapt to the desert landscape, using the knowledge gained from their ancestors over the centuries. As they get closer to Timbuktu, as far as the eye can see, the sand and the sky blends together. The camel caravans arrive in Timbuktu. They very carefully unload the camels one salt block at a time. They stack the salt blocks in a little adobe courtyard. They prepare to make the journey back to Taudeni, continuing the cycle of the salt caravan.
All right, so that should give you a good sense of what these salt trading mine towns were like. And so we're about to read one of the famous ones called Tagaza. Okay? Alright, so let's jump into it. So remember, this is a description of Tagaza based off of the writings of the famous Arab explorer and traveler Ibn Battuta. Let's get into it. So first we're going to do our cold read, where we read through it to try to get a sense of what the document's about, what's the gist. Okay, so let's do that. Alright. So this is a village with nothing good about it. One of its marvels is that its houses and its mosque are of rock salt and its roof of camel skins. It has no trees, but is nothing but sand with a salt mine. They dig in the earth for the salt, which is found in great slabs lying one upon the other as though they have been shaped and placed underground. Remember the video we just watched and what those slabs look like. A camel carries 2 slabs of it. Nobody lives there except for the slaves of the Masufa. I'm guessing this is referring to Mansa, the king, who digs for the salt. They live on the dates imported to them from northern Morocco, up in the north, right? And on camel meat. The Sudan, black people from the gold-producing forest lands to the south, come to them from their lands and carry the salt away. Or perhaps, they themselves take it down to the city, as we saw in the video of Timbuktu. Either way, carry the salt away. 1 load of it sold at the city of Niani for 30 or 20 mythicals. That, back in the day, was considered a lot of money. It was considered a large amount of money. I want to say probably, adjusted for inflation and whatnot, from what I've researched, that would be worth somewhere about 1 mythical was probably worth about $150 today. So 30 or 20 mythicals, that's a lot of money. Okay. Do Sudan use salt for currency as gold and silver is used? They cut it into pieces and used it for their transactions. Despite the meanness or desolation of the village of Tagaza, they deal with quantity upon quantity of gold there. So don't let appearances fool you. Don't let this rundown salt vision the place in the video fool you. They deal with a lot of money. A lot of gold. We stay there for 10 days under strain because the water there is brackish, salty, right? The water is so contaminated with salt that it tastes so salty. It is the most fly-ridden of places. We saw this in the video, right? Alrighty, so kind of jumping gears here, going back into the document. This is where you want to use your analysis that we've just gone over to answer these 3 questions using complete sentences. Of course, you're not done answering the questions. You've completely, fully answered the question. Once you've done that, you want to go ahead and pick out 3 facts from this document that you can incorporate into your journal response. So let's look at the writing prompt here. Writing journal entry number 3. Label your entry Tagaza, March 13:24 to dusk. So you would come right here, you would do exactly that. You would start with Tagaza, March 13:24 dusk. Remember, this is a journal entry, right? So you're gonna be writing it as if though your character, your persona is, experiencing this location. Okay. As you make camp in Gaza, you hear grumblings in the Hajj. Questions are being asked about the route taken north. Aren't there other ways to go across the Sahara? You are both intimidated and fascinated by this town, literally made of salt. What do you think of it? How do you feel about the route the Hajj is taken? So these are things you can talk about, right? You can talk about, like, why are we not going the other way? Or you can be like, I trust Mansa Musa for taking us here. He has reason, right? You can ask yourself, like, or describe, I should say, how are you feeling by this place, this vast, empty, bleak, salty, brackish of a place, right? What is it that your character feels about it? How do they think about, should they have taken this route? And don't forget to use 3 facts that are in the article or the document above to describe what your character is going through and what they're seeing, okay? And don't forget to put a picture here. You can draw that picture, you can attach it or upload it, you can Google that picture, as long as it really makes sense. Don't forget, you also have another student's perspective that had done this in the past and how they got through it as an example. Alright? So hopefully this breakdown of the article, and know that you have to answer these questions, this breakdown of the journal entry will help you be able to weave together a story of fiction and historical fact that's entertaining and informational at the same time. Alrighty. Alright, so good luck. I'll see you guys in the next document. Don't forget to be awesome. Bye.